is a high kill the negative stereotypes among the youth on vocation. And what guarantees do you have that the youth are interested in the vocational training that you're giving them? And another question I want to ask you, does Uganda have the capability of to understand? And in that policy, don't tell us that they're going to build more schools or what. So dear panel, ladies and gentlemen, we also want to didn't address the need for the urgency to have actually, because the people actually have to study, and because of our policy, they come up and then they tell us the youth are people in primary school. But
My name is Okalebo Joe Caesar from Team Negative. Is there any sense of urgency in dealing with primary children to fight financial crisis among the youth?
Yes.
Youth from 18 years to 35, as they stated. Thank you. Most of the youth are poor, as you are poor. How many are poor?
Over
You
40% are poor.
You said making vocational training through integrating it in the curriculum, right?
I beg your pardon?
Your policy is all about integrating vocational training into the curriculum, right?
Yes.
What of the dropouts?
We have provided a program for them. You are misunderstanding.
Thank you, you misunderstood. Can 207 vocational institutions capacitate all the 7?
We are revising the curriculum so they can accommodate schools.
Account for people in upper primary that are 18 years and above.
I beg your pardon?
Account for people in upper primary that are 18 years and above.
I know you had some in your primary school.
Does your policy address labor market demands?
I beg your pardon?
Does your policy address labor market demands?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, they didn't tell us anything about labor market demands and what happens at the end of the day. Even when you produce these people with their skills and the labor market does not actually...
Yes, through sensitization.
Thank you. How does vocational training fight poverty?
It equips the learners with skills which they can use to become self-employed.
Thank you. How do they become self-employed?
By starting up businesses with the skills that they gain.
Thank you. That's where I get her, ladies and gentlemen. We said we are going to give them financial assistance. In their policy, there are no way you talked about, ladies and gentlemen. So, you said, does your policy address the urgent need to solve financial crisis?
Yes, it does.
Name one financial crisis that was solved in 6 months.
Poverty.
One. Where was it?
In Uganda.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've never solved any financial crisis in Uganda for 6 months. So that actually presents lies in their case, ladies and gentlemen. So in our policy, we actually address the solutions to reasons why youth don't actually enroll for vocational training. We tell you why it should not be mandatory without ignoring its importance. We tell you how to solve financial crisis without mandatory vocational training. We also give you reasons why the 49% of the vocational training graduates are jobless and 50% of those who try to start up businesses end up collapsing. And we actually give you a solution to this, ladies and gentlemen. And what happens at the end of the day? For us in our policy, it's not the skills, then they come out and they still want to get employed, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to give them the support to get self-employed. We talked of the low interest loans, and they actually didn't address this, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the day, what is important is not actually the skill. What is important is getting self-employed. 49 of the vocational training graduates are jobless due to lack of startup capital, ladies and gentlemen. They don't address that. They tell us many youths are poor, but they don't tell us how many they are. They tell us it's going to be integrated in the curriculum. But again, the same people tell us 30% of the youths drop out every year. But in their policy, are above the poverty line, ladies and gentlemen. And without facts, without figures, there are no facts, ladies and gentlemen. So they actually present lies without any figures and without any facts, ladies and gentlemen. They come and tell us that youth will not learn schools, so youth will not learn schools. This was by their second speaker. And so they decide to actually integrate it in the upper primary curriculum. But why would you make it mandatory for someone who will not learn it, ladies and gentlemen? So that also falls there. It's optional, ladies and gentlemen. They tell us that the DIT, they talked of the DIT program failing due to underlying issues, but they don't actually tell us how they are going to solve it, and they actually tell
All protocol observed. Angere Rachel from the Affirmatives. Speaker.
Yes, please.
Something is better than nothing. Do you agree?
Yes,
Are a majority of the unemployed below the age of 30?
yes.
Can lack of vocational skills be cited as one of the causes of unemployment?
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I have no question. You talk of stereotypes. Thank you. You may now sit down. We have the youth who are in, students are churned out of the academic system and they find themselves unemployed. It doesn't matter whether it's at A level or even at the for 3 years. Mind you, some of these people have never even stepped in a workplace. How do we help such people? How can we help them overcome the financial crisis that is brought about by unemployed, not job seekers? And how do we do that, August House? Vocational training should be made mandatory. They mistook our argument from the very beginning. By mandatory, they maybe thought that we are going to put everybody at gunpoint. That's not true. We are giving them a choice. A choice. After secondary, you can choose to continue with this, it's mandatory at the beginning stages. But after secondary, it becomes a choice. You can continue to specialize or you can choose not to specialize. So how is that mandatory? Ladies and gentlemen, we see COVID-19 taught us the need for hands-on skills, okay? And this is a matter that we have academic failures. These people are seen, yes? But then, she's 27 now. She classifies as youth. She's 27 now, and she owns a tailoring business because she got her vocational training from Mtinda Vocational Institute. She dropped out of school, but that wasn't the end for her. She turned to vocational training. That is what we are trying to do, provide another solution to these people, provide a way out for these people. They ignore the fact that we are trying to implement this from the primary level. We are not saying that primary students, when they have nothing to help them, no funds, nothing. They say these people fail, their businesses fail. We are not going to allow that to happen. We are going to fund them. We are going to help them get back to school. We are going to find their businesses. We are going to help them overcome this financial crisis by ignoring the young, the primary students. If you treat a cancer at a tumor stage, there are higher chances of it healing. Thank you very much.
Hello, hello, hello.
We request for silence from the audience. Speakers, as you both know, this is a blind round, so you will not know your results till they are given to you. However, I'm quite sure that after our deliberation, you substantive points. I credit complex policies that, in any case, it would be very hard for someone to construe them in such a narrow period of time. It comes and raises questions that were actually answered in a former one speech. In other words, the rebuttal was good, but you were engaging on points that time frame. But I remember their time frame was 6 months, and they told you to a desirable extent of about 2 years. Convinced. Similarly, Negator 1 came and told you that on pursuance of their system guaranteeing saving ensures equity, access, and then Affirmative 3 comes and is asking the same questions. Meaning, both sides were not listening as the first farmers were speaking. You were deliberating, which were very substantive. In fact, they are almost the MVPs of this debate. But no one was listening. One made. It also does not augur very well. For example, in your last remarks as you're concluding, you say, we actually advocate for making mandatory, for making vocational, you take on a burden that the resolution had not given you. Because the resolution has not stated here that in a bid to fight the financial crisis among youth, this house will make vocational training Therefore, once you assume it, therefore, you then we will then be forced to accommodate their rebuttals. Because their rebuttals are clearly showing you that there are other alternatives that either work hand in hand or with vocational training in schools. Now, Team Negative, I also have a problem with you. There is a bit of contradiction. Now, you come tell us that your policy is urgent, that they do not address urgency in their policy, which I told you they had addressed. But then you say your policies and tell me, you know what, in this global fight, in maybe a curriculum-based institution or inculcation of skills, 5 years is such. The information of 5 years was at first not true as per vocational institutes. I don't know any vocational course that trains for 5 years. Again, on the point of resource allocation, adaptability, and non-compliance, Team Affirmative, you asked the question, if the people do not comply, speech where they say, you know what, people shall not be at a gunpoint. Now, much as the audience was